add the form. So we basically have two broad types of forms. One we call the indication form, and the other we call the proposal form. Now, the purpose of the indication form is to indicate a price as quickly as possible, whereas the purpose of the proposal form is to ask all the boring questions that we all know are associated with insurance. So, because ultimately the main aim of ParaCode is to make insurance interesting. Hopefully it can do. So we've created our insurable entity, My Travel Insurance, which is derived from the travel person that we created in the entity page, but it's derived from the person plugin. So you can see that structure moving through the system. We now need on our form to put in all questions that relate to this person. So the first one is, what is your name? Nice and easy. Name. So maybe it's more friendly. What is your name? And it will be a mandatory question because ultimately you can't get away from not answering. What is your date of birth? Will be the next one. And what we do with that is we then calculate an age for the person based on their date of birth. We use that rather than putting an age because it allows us to age them correctly going through the renewal process. And then the next one is, what is your gender? With gender, we allow you as a system owner, if you like, to configure what genders you would like in your system. You could have none, or you could have as many as you like. What values do we have? Hopefully not too controversial, but you never know these days. We also then like to know where this person is. So what we're going to do is create a section. A section is just a border which goes around some other questions. And so we like to put like-minded questions in a section. So this one, with address, what it does is it populates back from the main customer address. So if you put in your customer address, your customer address will appear here. Because generally with something like travel insurance, the customer is the same as the insured, although that is not always the case with other types. And then town. Postcode. So one of my little bugbears is that postcode is 2 words, as you can see. However, in the UK, I think the proper spelling is 1 word, postcode. Cool, that was nice and easy. What we now want to do is I have a list of questions in my little Excel spreadsheet that I've been using to build this policy with. We're now going to add some of the more interesting ones. So what type of cover are you looking for? So that actually needs to be a mandatory question because you can't get cover without it. So what I did there is I created a radio button. So what we're doing over here, probably should explain this earlier. So we have different types of what we call form items, and form items is basically what is the question answer field going to look like. It looks like the form item that you set it to be. So a lot of these are what we call inputs, which is for typing into. But other than radio, which is like you can choose one or the other. Now for the countries ones, we're going to use a checkbox. What a checkbox does is it allows you to pick many different values. So where are you going? And then it's going to list all the countries that we created. So here's all the countries we created earlier. You can pick as many of them as you like. And then that meta group value for country risk type is going to select which risk category you go into, which will then feed into the rate tables and give you your rate. Hopefully that's pretty straightforward. This probably needs to be mandatory. You need at least one country to be ticked to make it work. And then what else do we need to add? Pre-medical questions, our favourite. What we'll do is we're just going to create a section for cover details. Put all the 2 cover questions into, just to look a bit smarter. Cool. And then we're going to create a new section called medical questions. Basically, this is just going to have two things in it. It's going to be a yes, no question saying, do you have any medical conditions? And then a details box to say, if yes, please provide further details. Now, one of the things everybody wants, but being honest, we don't currently have, is conditional questions, so that if you answer a question a certain way, more questions appear or physically disappear. We don't have that currently, but it's in our roadmap and we're hoping to get it pretty soon. But for many things, especially for back office functions, it's not really essential. It's more of a web quote and buy thing, to be honest. Now, the other one I need to add is medical details. So I'm not sure I actually created it. Just double check. Cool. So generally, if I ask a question and I then want a free text answer, I'll just call it details. So in the form, it's going to say, if you have answered yes, please provide details. Give it a code name of medical details. Description can be the same as a question. String is free text. I just wanted to type it in. That's that. Then back at our contract configuration side of things, I just need to set to show inactive. As you can see, we have a lot of inactive ones. You know, travel insurance. Back on my travel insurance entity, that new question we just created, we just need to now add it to the form. And so there it is, click yes, and then it will be available to drag in the form. Medical. Yes. This one is not mandatory, but it is multi-line, meaning it'll be a bigger box. It's lots of medical details. The idea would be we could set a referral against that yes, no question. So if the answer was yes, I do have medical conditions, it could then be referred to an underwriter to look at before deciding whether to offer cover and on what terms. Cool. So that's all the details about the person we're insuring. We now want to add in cover types. So what we do in this menu, this is basically selecting the insurables and the different question types. So it's my travel insurance, and then we want to insure a cover type, which is, as I said before, section cover. Drag it in, and then this is going to drag in all those sections of cover. And the reason it's done that and not done it properly is because I didn't set this primary section of cover to be enabled, which was a bit stupid of me. But I can just delete this item off the form, refresh the page just for good order, and then add it in again. Cool. And then it should go travel insurance, cancellation insurance. Easy peasy. Easy. Now, what we want was one more thing really to do on contract setup, and that's just set our payment plans up for our particular policy in question. So we do that over here. Now, what I'm going to do, because this is a demo and we're not plugged into, we do have obviously credit card and premium finance providers, but they're not plugged into our demo site. I'm just going to disable all of the payment methods except payment on account. Payment on account is, as it says, it generates an account entry which can then be paid off at a later date by, say, BACS transfer, cash check, if anybody still is doing business on a cash check basis. Maybe they don't, but the option's there if you do. So the way, just quick overview of payment plans, what we do is we can define all of these. Well, you can, as a user, define all of these different conditions yourself. So you could be like, I want a renewal plan and I want to include these options. And you can say if they pay like this for new business, then they pay like this for renewal or for MTA. So there's lots of linking between the different payment options, which gives you lots of flexibility. So we've set all them up. What we also need to do is on the actual contract itself, we need to say it can generate payments and it can is active. There's one more thing to do, and that's to create a suitable document to generate. Now, what we're going to do is just create one document to cover both quotes and certificates at this point, just because it's only a demo and that's all we really need to achieve to show we can do it. So when we do documents, ideally, as I said earlier, we put all the merge code in the system and not in the document. So we've got this demo insurance certificate. What it does is it's basically pulling all the information from the system with basically hardly any information actually stored in the document itself. So this, haven't touched it for the purpose of this demo, but I'm hoping, I haven't done it before, so hopefully it works. This document should hopefully generate first time and look really good. So we're going to get to surface just on policies, because we'll go ahead and create a policy. And these are just our workflow, so you can tell the system when certain documents are available based on what you're doing. Cool, so we're all good to go. Let's give it a go. So